The South African Off-Road Championship is proudly brought to you by ABSA. Speak to ABSA first for fast, flexible vehicle finance. We can also structure an asset finance solution to suit your business needs. It's really never been easier.
The ABSA Off-Road Championship, which comprises 8 events, reached its midway point at the Sun City 400, with many competitors consolidating their championship leads in the various production vehicle and special vehicle classes, and others finally getting their championship campaign underway. There has been much movement up and down the production vehicle category championship log, with Nissan Dealer 400 and Sun City 400 winners Janelle de Villiers, who had to miss the Toyota 1000 due to an elbow injury, and Francois Jordan in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, moving up 2 positions into 3rd place. The former production vehicle champions have accumulated 114 points and now trail their teammates and championship leaders Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek by only 36 points. The reigning champions damaged the power steering in the prologue and had to start 54th on Saturday, but a spirited drive saw them cross the line 3rd. Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer finished 2nd overall in the Team Ford Racing Ranger to retain 2nd place in the championship, 18 points behind Grobler and Leek. The Ford pair is one of only 4 production vehicle crews to have finished all 4 races run so far. Class E championship leaders Hugo and Jaap de Bruin in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i had their run of 3 successive Class E victories ended by Hein Mulman and Cecil Fincham in the 4x4 Mega World Toyota Hilux KZTE, and had to settle for 3rd in Class E in the Pilanesberg. The Vryburg businessmen have dropped to 4th in the overall championship, but still have a commanding lead in the Class E championship. Meanwhile, Lichtenberg 200 winners, Mulman and Fincham, have moved 11 positions up the overall championship table and are 5th in the Class E championship. Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford gained a position when they notched up their 3rd successive Class D win and finished 4th overall in the Sun City 400 in the Arnold Chatz Cars Nissan hardbody. Cox and Pitchford have a 19-point lead over Henry Zematin and Bodo Schwegler in the Mastercraft PlayStation Pajero, who is 6th overall and 2nd in the Class D championship. Reigning Class E champions Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin failed to finish the Sun City 400 due to gearbox failure on their Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i and have dropped from 4th to 7th in the overall championship and 1st to 3rd in the Class D championship. Husband and wife Nielsen Zelda van der Walt in the Nissan hardbody gained a place after another consistent performance and are 8th in the overall championship and 2nd in Class E, while proudly South African Nissan crew Duncan Vos and Henny Testerge have moved to 9th in the overall championship. Team Ford Racing's development team of Bupumzi Rubuluza and Kulili Fakalisa were bitterly disappointed to be time-barred by minutes after having to reverse for 8 kilometers. Within 100 meters of the finish, Rubuluza lost control of the Ford Ranger and it ended up perched on a tree, and with no four-wheel drive at his disposal, his race was run, which proved costly because they had dropped from 8th to 10th in the overall championship and from 2nd to 3rd in Class E. Andre Boerter and Beens Heidenrich are the Class F championship leaders after scoring their first points of the season, when they finished 18th overall and 1st in Class F in the Kopenhagen Hotel Super Team Chevy. Three overall victories in 4 starts sees Atang Magekeneni topping the Special Vehicle Drivers' Championship log with 135 points, while co-driver Bix Carolyn, who shared the total Jimco with Magekeneni on the Toyota 1000 and the Sun City 400, has rocketed from 5th to 1st in the co-drivers' championship. Consistent performances by veteran Nick Harper and Andrew Chalupsky in the BAT has earned them 88 points, and they have moved from 4th to 2nd in the overall and Class A championships, ahead of Mark Corbett, who failed to finish the Toyota 1000 and the Sun City 400 in the Century Property Developments BAT. KwaZulu-Natal pair Clint Gibson and Mike Brown have dropped to 4th in the overall championship, with Gibson 4th and Brown 3rd in the Class A Drivers and Co-Drivers Championships respectively. Despite a non-finish in the Sun City 400, Class B leaders Audrey Roots and Dion de Kock have managed to hold on to 5th place in the overall championship and the lead in Class B, but only just. Shamir Variawa and Nadine Dodier battled clutch problems on the Oven Fresh Biscuits Porter to finish 3rd overall in the special vehicle category and move to within 1 point of Roots and de Kock in the global DAD WPP. Brothers Hamish and Alistair Stubbs have gained 4 places in the overall championship and are only 4 points behind the leaders in Class B after 2 consistent showings in the Frenz-Erect Viper, while reigning special vehicle drivers champion Giel Nel in the Look ATE Truggy, who has been languishing in 19th position, has finally got his championship campaign underway and has moved up to 8th overall and 3rd in Class B. Former Class B champions Marcus Taylor and Mark Deschalaine have had 2 non-finishes in the JRE, which has dropped them to 9th overall and 4th in Class B, with Class B winner on the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, Gary Campbell, 10th overall and 5th in Class B. The Class S Championship was a 2-horse race before the Sun City 400, with one of the horses now sidelined for the rest of the season after Nick Gosler and Warren Bowie collided with a hit and rock at high speed in the Kopanong Hotel Super Team Raceco. Gosler suffered spinal injuries and will not be competing for the rest of the season, which leaves the way open for Class S Championship leaders Mohammed Noble and Richard Hope in the Abe's Furniture Raceco to capitalise on their 31-point lead over the rest of the Class S hopefuls. The first Roof of Africa rally was held in 1965, with the event starting in Johannesburg. Crews travelled down to Butha-Buthe, where they entered Lesotho and proceeded over the Mateng Pass to Oxbow, the diamond diggings at Letseng-Letterai and on to Clockwen. They joined the Mokhotlong-Sani Pass Road and travelled down the Sani Pass and finished in Durban. The legendary Jan Hettemer won the inaugural event in a standard Volvo. Motor vehicles last competed in the Roof in 2000, and this year marks the return of the four-wheel fraternity when the Lesotho Sun 400, round 5 of the ABSA Off-Road Championship, gets underway on August the 20th. Many of the current crop of competitors in the production and special vehicle categories, including Richard Schilling, Hannes Grobler, Cliff Barker, Mike Redden, Henry Zamatten, Richard Leek, Neil Woolridge, Ken Scholthammer, Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford, competed with success in previous Roof of Africas.
Well, you know, Class D bucky, it takes a hell of a lot of strain.
In 1969, Eddie Kaizen won the Roof of Africa in a Land Rover, and it was only 25 years later that a Land Rover won again. This time it was Cliff Barker and Mike Redden, who have come out of retirement to compete in the Lesotho Sun 400 in a BMW M3-powered Land Rover Defender 110. Arthur Harkis, father of Brandon Harkis, who is the mastermind behind the locally designed and built BAT vehicles, finished 6th overall in 1978 in a Ventura, won the Roof of Africa the next year and finished 2nd in 1980. Another off-road legend, Frans Chepek, who has won 5 special vehicle championships in 8 years, won his first Roof in 1977 and repeated this 20 years later in 1997 with his son Frans Jr. Team Ford Racing's Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer, both former off-road motorcycle champions, are the only South Africans to have won the Roof on 2 and 4 wheels. Woolridge won the event on a Kawasaki in 1984 and in a Mitsubishi Pajero in 1999. Scholthammer won on a KTM in 1976, finished 2nd in 1978 and 79, and 4th in 1982. Robin Yates and Scholthammer won the special vehicle category in 1989 in the Puma Products Raceco.
We looked at Alco on the road, but he was too far off.
Hannes Grobler and navigator Piet Swanepoel won the Roof in 1986 and 1988 in a Nissan Safari, while Grobler's current navigator, Richard Leek, took the overall laurels with Cassie Coetzee in the driver's seat of a Toyota Hilux in 1993. Richard Schilling, who will be competing in the Plastotech Raceco, won the Roof of Africa overall 3 times in a row. In 1990, he and Fred Levesque won in a Chenoweth. In 1991, he won it with co-driver Rob Walk in a Raceco, and in 1992 with co-driver Ashley Thorne in a Raceco. Mark Corbett and Jean Moore won a very wet roof in 2000 in the Century Property Developments Gymco, which was the last year that the motor vehicles competed in the Roof of Africa Rally. The Lesotho Sun 400 will have a special meaning for Class D Championship leader Alfie Cox, although any result earned will not be added to his list of Roof of Africa successes. Cox has won the roof a record 9 times on a motorcycle, scored his first overall win in 1988 and continued his winning streak until 1991. In 1989, he and teammate Jeremy Davies recorded the first ever joint win on the event. Cox again won in 1993, 94, 95, 97 and 2001. A production vehicle category is not out of the question for Cox and fellow motorcyclist Ralph Pitchford, both of whom know the conditions in Lesotho like the backs of their hands. Today, Maseru is a bustling modern city, and ongoing development has made it possible for only motorcycles and quads to compete on the traditional round the houses course, which entertained growing crowds from the inception of the event. In the case of the Lesotho Sun 400, competitors will instead complete a 4-kilometre special stage at the Maseru Racecourse, or Pope Stadium as it's commonly referred to, at 12 noon on Friday, August the 20th, before heading out to Roma for a 40-kilometre prologue. The main event on Saturday will comprise 2 laps of a 170-kilometre course in the lowlands southeast of Maseru, with the first car starting at Matseng at 7 a.m. on Saturday.